Okay, good morning, everyone. Lovely to be here. And thanks, Ankit and Rishi, for inviting me to this conference. Actually, I have a leadership workshop going on at the same time in my office. But when they invited me, I couldn't say no because the topic is extremely close to my heart. Before I get started, I want to narrate a small incident that left an impression on me. Just a few days back, I was working very late in the office. I got so late that I didn't want to go back home, which is about 20 miles away. So I decided to check in into a hotel nearby, 3-star, nondescript, last minute booking. And I walked into the hotel, nothing special, mediocre. Anyway, it was like very late at night. So I didn't have much expectations. I go to my room, pretty ordinary, and I rest the night, got up in the morning, got ready, checked out, and booked a taxi to go to my office. It was around 6:45 a.m. And while I was checking out, the guy at the desk said, "Ma'am, your package includes a free breakfast." And I said, "Okay, while I wait for the taxi, let me wander into the breakfast hall, which was just next door." And as I walked into the empty breakfast hall, one guy meets me and takes me through the entire menu they have for the breakfast. I was super impressed. I walked towards the buffet area, tried to open the dishes, and he said, "No, no, 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 nothing is right now ready. It's too early. But I can get you anything that you want." So I said, "Okay, anyways, I mean, it's okay. I'll have something at my office." And I tried to walk out. He said, "No, no, I can get you a dosa made in 20 minutes. He said, "No, I don't have 20 minutes. It's okay, it's fine." He said, "An omelet, 10 minutes?" I said, "It's fine, it's perfectly fine. I don't have 10 minutes." He said, "A veg sandwich, 5 minutes, only 5 minutes." And I said, "No, no, it's fine. I just looked at my Ola cab and it was there in 4 minutes." And I started to walk out. He came behind me in the hall and said, "Can I cut some fruits for you? It will just take 3 minutes." And I said, "Thank you so much, but really appreciate it, but I have to go." So I walked out of the breakfast hall, stepped out of the reception, went out. Suddenly, I noticed somebody running after me with a aluminum foil pack. And he came running and said, "I have some cookies packed for you." And my taxi was just there. And he said, "I didn't want you to go hungry from my hotel." I had walked out, so I looked at the very nondescript big facade of the hotel. And then I had a look at this gentleman's face. Eyes were full of passion and commitment for employee experience. I looked at his name. It was Bijoy on his card. And that moment, I suddenly realized that I was seeing the soul of the hotel in the eyes of this young man. Bijoy brought life to this otherwise nondescript, unimpressionable hotel. And he brought so much of life, so much of joy to my otherwise very mundane morning when I was going to the office. So the point that I reflected on was that employees can be the soul of the organization. And we can have great buildings, great strategies. But if the hearts and minds of our people who work with us are not with us, not with the organization, then none of it will come alive. Okay, So, with that, I want to come to myself, my journey, which I want to share a bit, my learnings. I have been involved with creation and nurturing all my life. I call myself a creator in that sense that, as a marketer, when I started my career after my studies, I was creating brands. Then I was creating joint ventures, alliances, and over time, organizations. And as I lead organizations, one thing that is very clear to me is that this journey is extremely interesting. But what is also interesting is observing children play with Lego toys. If you have observed your children, I remember my son playing with Lego toys, and I would just watch. What is he doing? Later, I would find out that he had something in his mind that he was creating. And then he would start picking up pieces accordingly and join them to create connections and make his vision come to life. And that's what we do with brands. As we build brands, we already have a positioning in mind, right? We are thinking when the brand is consumed, what kind of emotions it will evoke when a brand is touched, what kind of feelings it will evoke in the consumer. So you already think through that, and then you design your strategy, positioning to make that come alive. And similarly, when we create an organization, you're already thinking ahead, right? What kind of organization is this? What solutions it will offer to the consumers or to the customers? Will it be a leading edge, cutting edge technology company? Will it be a leader in some space? So you've already got the end in mind as you're designing the organizations. So that brings us to the core point. Do we have the end in mind before we start for our human capital as we develop the strategy? So Stephen Covey, I'm a great follower of Stephen Covey, have read all his books and have tried to practice some of the habits. And one of the core habits that he professes is begin with the end in mind. I will repeat, begin with the end in mind. And that is so true for all of us, leaders and HR professionals today. We begin with the end in mind, what kind of talent force we want to create for the organizations in line with the changing dynamics of today. And what are these changes? Not new to us, right? Whole day we are going to spend today talking about these changes. But I thought I'll still quickly highlight tremendous change. Employees have become talent pools. Hierarchies are becoming connected teams. Office is becoming a meeting point, right? Management is more facilitation. Competition is more collaboration in the ecosystem. Talent pool itself has become so diverse that inclusion has become the top priority. Each of us handles multi-generational talent today in our organizations. We are looking at very different motivators for engagement, very different motivators to come to work, very different ways how we reward and recognize talent. Post-COVID, of course, we are looking at hybrid ways of working, moonlighting, people very resistant to even come to work when asked to. They want to come at their own time and own pace. The boundaries are blurring. Every leader is an HR leader today. And HR leaders have to know the business. As this leader of the organization, I want my HR leader to understand where I am going, where the organization is going, where are the skills of tomorrow, what will RPA lead to, what is automation all about, right? And while we specialize in HR, we need to specialize or at least have this generalistic understanding of different parts of value chain, from research, development, to supply chain, to finance, to marketing, to technology. And within technology, there are at least scores of specializations that we are supposed to know about and understand what motivates this talent. Employee retention, employee engagement, all of this, plus this huge diversity, not just gender diversity. I am now talking about diversity in terms of experiences, diversity of generations, diversity of technology that is actually wanting bridges of inclusion to be built if we really want to leverage that. We are today becoming very global. The talent wants global opportunities. They want to work across global projects, different countries. And we are not truly global unless we give them this opportunity to work across boundaries, work across cultures. We are not truly global unless we have a substantial representation of geographical diversity as well, as we are talking about gender diversity in the leadership positions or in the global management positions. And all that requires a change in mindset. I believe the work-life balance and this post-COVID hybrid methodology has also posed quite a bit of new interesting areas that we have to explore as HR leaders. Employee journey has become so very important. So employees are looking for experiences, just like customer experiences, employee experiences before joining, while being made an offer, talent sourcing, onboarding, and over time, how they engage with the organization and others and with leadership has become critical. We didn't think of these issues in the way that we have to do today. One size fits all approach is not working. We are celebrating uniqueness, uniqueness in every which way, uniqueness of thought, uniqueness of motivators. And that brings a very important question to our mind. How would an HR leader succeed in this plethora of changes that we are experiencing today in this world? I have worked with several HR leaders in my journey, and I must tell you, some things that have impressed me very well are, first, this ability to get into the business and not stay as an island. So we say we create centers of excellence, but sometimes we end up creating islands of excellence. And this island that we end up creating in the garb of specialization actually works against the company goals. So as HR leaders, our first and foremost role is to create connections, to create centers which are connected with each other, and we ourselves too. We have to emerge in the business, understand strategy, understand philosophy, understand where we are going in the next 5, 10, 15 years, and then bring about our specialization in managing human capital to the forefront and integrate, synergize business strategy with talent strategy. A lot of us are playing at the periphery. And I use this analogy quite often. You play at the periphery, your impact is also peripheral. Come to the center. Come to the center to make a huge impact in the organization. Your seat is in the center. You are the right hand person for the CEO because we need that. We need that hand holding to make sure the vision that we have for the organization is actually translated into action by our souls of the organization, which is people. I think I summarize my experience of great HR leaders in three ways. One, HR leader has to be the champion of talent, which is very different from what you commonly see. We are talking about discipline, control, process, policies. Very important. I understand that as a business leader, process, policies are the core of an organization, but they are a means to an end and not the end in themselves, right? So we need to now align our processes, policies to make sure that we are meeting the needs of the new age talent and the new age organization. We have to create a win-win for the business and the employees. And that's the new ask. Okay? So champion of talent who is able to hear out his ears, her ears on the ground, what the employees are looking at, hear out what the management, leadership, and business needs, and then create a win win by playing at the center, not at the periphery. So, that whole part of support services, etc., is absolutely redundant as per me. Okay, you are the core, you have to play at the center. So, first is championship of your people. Second most important thing in today's world and the world of future is connections. And a person who is able to connect, a leader who is able to see the whole world as a network and is able to build bridges is going to be successful in this new world. Whether you are a new HR professional starting your journey or an established HR leader, I think one change that we must need to bring is focus our energies on building connections, forcing collaboration amongst people, amongst teams. Because that is what the new world will benefit from, and that will become an organizational, unique, differential advantage in this virtual, remote, digital world. Connections are very important. Foster connections. Look at teams, build teams. Your role is to look at people as people champion and then build connections with mentors, coaches, other teams to make sure that people benefit from what we need to offer. And it's not just on paper, it's in practice. Okay? So champion of people, connector, building connections, and third important trait in us is being a change agent. And that's when you change the perception of HR as a support function to a core function. So I talked about playing at the center, right? How do you play at the center? When the whole ecosystem is changing, if we do not understand and embrace the change and be a catalyst in this transformation, we'll be left out in the periphery. We'll be just asked to do transactional work. And transactional work, as you all know, we are centralizing, we are automating, we are using RPA, we are using other machine learning, AI to centralize and automate some of the transactional work and get insights to be able to do employee centric work that is core to an HR professional. And as you focus your energies, you can look at your work profile and say, what is transactional? What is core? Can I move the transactional work to less than 20% of my work? And 80% of my work should be employee centric, making an impact on the people. And that's the core, right? How do you achieve that ratio? And when do you achieve that ratio is important. So again, bringing back to the point, champion of talent, connector, and a change agent. For that, you have to embrace the new ways of working and the new technology. I would like to end the talk here by reminding you of Bijoy, the hotel guy that we talked about in the beginning. Bijoy was the soul of this hotel, and employees are souls of organization. They are not objects, they are souls. And as HR professionals and business leaders, our major responsibility and a proud privilege is to touch that soul, to shape that soul, and nourish that soul so that employees just don't grow, they flourish, they blossom in the organization. If employees leave organizations for managers, they can stay back for HR managers, right? So let's look at that paradigm where we are able to play at the center, nourish the souls, and create happiness, health, and wealth for our employees and the organization. Many thanks for listening to me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. All I can say is clearly Bijoy made your day and gave us some serious goals, right? I mean, not just treating the employees as employees, but a soul of your organization. That said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm now going to call upon the partner and business head of Sapphire Connect, Mr. Rishi Kapoor, to please present the token of appreciation to Ms. Arora, please. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for Ms. Arora and for Mr. Kapoor, please. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir.